the law or whatever is set up to grow hemp is much simpler and easier than marijuana.
It's much easier to get the registration to have the right to grow it. But that's the one really tricky thing I would say about growing hemp is that you do have to watch that level of THC. It's actually going to change over the life cycle of the plant too. And so there's strategies that growers have to employ to make sure they've got the right cultivar and then that they're growing it properly and they're harvesting it soon enough so that it's never going to go above that threshold. I can elaborate a little bit too, if you like, on what I was saying before about you have to throw it out. That's largely true. It's not the only answer. There actually is a provision in the regulations where the Department of Agriculture can allow someone to make another use of hemp that tests bad, that's over 0.3%. They don't like to do that. It actually, I don't know of any example where such an allowance has been given, but it is in the regulations that they can, in a case-by-case basis, I guess, allow someone to take their plant that tests too high and perhaps use it for fiber, use it for something where there's no way that THC is going to enter a person's body.
Don't you have a deal where they drop it by your house, Mike? Is that what I heard once?
Yes, and it's an undisclosed location, JR, and it has to be done explicitly at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, under the cover of darkness. No, at some point we've got to get past this. Hemp is not plutonium. Hemp is not able to make buildings implode and things like this. It just basically is a nice product if you'd like a nice shirt, if you'd like a nice pair of pants. I brought in a hat one day with JR, and he says, "Oh, you got a new hat?" It's like, no, I've had that hemp hat 15 years. It just lasts so long. And obviously we're sitting here looking at a little deal here. Now, some of you people at home, and by the way, I really apologize to everybody, including our guests.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
And I didn't start the video feed. We did not. We're so enthralled. We never have anybody visit us, Lord, so we missed the start. But you know what? For all you folks listening in, hey, we're caught up now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyway, so there's a little poster. See, I like to do this because it's just fun. Okay. We can do stuff like this because we have a camera. And this is a little deal that says it's got a couple pictures of somebody. Now, who's on there, JR?
Let's see.
That looks like old George himself.
The guy on the camera left is Thomas Jefferson.
Never heard of him.
On the right, some guy named Benjamin Franklin.
Never heard of him.
And the guy in the middle, well, you see his picture on the dollar bill, George Washington.
Do they play for like the Knicks or something? Or who are these people?
You know what it says here? It says, an American tradition, we grew and milled hemp. Jefferson, Franklin, Washington.
Now, what do you think of that, David Bush, hemp attorney? Is this true, or is this somebody just... See, here's what I get into. It's like, we have like a little game of, is it true or is it not true? And, well, if this is true, then we got a problem here, right? How are hemp people anti-American if this is true? Now, if you're the lawyer, you help us sort it out.
I don't know about Benjamin Franklin. He wasn't a farmer, but certainly Thomas Jefferson and George Washington were. And I have read that multiple times myself, that they did grow hemp and they were strong advocates of growing hemp. Not a problem. This is an argument on our side. This is to say, here's some people that we respect highly from our country's history, and they're growing this stuff that the government's trying to tell us now is a dangerous drug that we can't use for anything.
It blows my mind just when JR and I speak this occasionally when we have friends and they own Mercedes and BMWs and Audis, and they might be driving to their anti-drug meeting in a car that's made out of drugs. It's made out of hemp. And it's, and here on this show, I know there's a technical difference, but here on this show, it's all cannabis. Pot is part of hemp. Hemp is part of pot. And we just talked about, oh, really? If it's over 1,000,000 of 1% over, well, now it's technically bad pot, right? And depending on where it is, it goes from pot to non-pot, or now it's back. Now, this whole hemp thing, we've got to let people understand it's okay. Let our farmers grow hemp. It's okay, isn't it? I don't know. That's just my personal position.
It should be. Adding to what you said about cars, someone is now trying to build a hemp airplane.
Wow.
And it'll not only be made out of hemp, but the airplane will be fueled with biofuel made from hemp oil.
Absolutely. That's just going back to Henry Ford, what he did back in the day with the car out of hemp and everything.
How much you talked about if it's a little over the limit?
Yeah.
A lot of it gets thrown out or destroyed or whatever. Some of it still gets used. Any idea how much of that, maybe on an annual basis or monthly basis, is bad hemp or good hemp? I don't know what you want to call it.
I can just tell you what Dwayne Cindy told me. I actually had a meeting with him about this, and he said that last year, the amount of hemp that actually tested bad and had to be ripped out and thrown away statewide would fill a pickup truck.
No,
that's about it. Not very much.
The growers, the farmers are doing a good job.
And here's something that's coming down the pike probably in the next couple of years or so is the Senate and then the General Assembly in Colorado recently passed Senate Bill 196. Hasn't been signed by the governor, at least the last time I checked, but we think that's coming. That bill is going to authorize the Department of Agriculture for the first time to undertake a seed certification program so that people actually know what they're planting. There will be recognized cultivars in Colorado. The nice thing about that is it's really going to drive down the risk that someone is going to grow a hemp plant that has too much THC. They'll know exactly what they're putting in the ground, and if they employ good management practices, they should be all right. The hope of the Department of Agriculture is once they have certified seeds in Colorado and people are growing certified seeds, they're not going to have to test so much. Right now, they have a comprehensive program. The Department of Agriculture is reserving the right to test 100% of what's growing. And they admit they can't get to that. They don't have the funds, they don't have the time, but they're empowered to test everything. And that's an expensive and time-consuming process, especially when, as we learned last year, there really wasn't very much of it that tested out bad. So we're hoping that in the pretty near future, there's going to be certified seeds, there's going to be recognized cultivars, there isn't going to be so much testing, and this whole concern about how much THC content we have in these plants, hopefully that's going to fade into the background a bit.
Certified seeds, that's a big step.
That's a huge step. It's a huge step because right now, most of the time, people have no idea what they're planting. I mean, when you really press them on it, they have no idea what they've got. They may say what they got until you start asking them questions about it, and it turns out that their guess is as good as yours. And we're trying to get away from that. We're trying to have certified seed just like you do with corn and sorghum and wheat and rice and all these other major cereal crops. Why not do the same with hemp? It's an agricultural commodity. We should have the same kind of standards that govern it and that give people some confidence in what they're growing.
Put it on the same level as those other products.
Absolutely. And that's where we're headed. That's where other countries are at. The United States is not, because we still have these crazy federal laws, but you go to countries all around the world, from Brazil to Great Britain to Germany to Latvia to Canada, they have nationally recognized certified seed varieties, and it's regulated by the government, and everyone's happy. But as happy as it can be with regulation, but you know what I mean.
That's right. David Bush is our guest. 420 weather, real quick, JR.
Oh, it is. Well, it's a beautiful day outside. Not too hot, not too cold. But as we know, being the hemp whisperers, it's always hazy, a little cloudy at K-High.
I see some smoke coming up over there, JR. Is that some people barbecuing or what? No, I don't see the barbecue. What's going on over there? HempSpeak.com.
All right.
Yeah, we're good.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
Great job.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I never know if I'm talking too much or too little, or
You're doing fine.
No, you're doing fine.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Because I've heard him talk, he's heard me.
yeah,
This is a refreshing change of pace.
It's just a shame I'm not prettier than you are. It'd be a lot more fun
We
for
got
you.
an attorney in the house. Mike and I have to up our game a little bit.
Take a couple of those. You might need those.
Oh, absolutely. So I can spread the good word about this
Well, just-
diversity.
I do.
Positively.
I do real estate for them.
Yeah.
Find the farmers need help, or you got something to sell, and you put something together, figure out ways to collaborate.
Yeah. Were you going to ask? Cut me off.
No, you're
running out
good.
of time. Are you going to practice at all?
Whatever you want.
I mean, I'd be happy to talk about that. Just want to know.
Yeah, I was going to
what I
say,
do, what kind of clients I have, what kind of areas of law I practice, where what my
Perfect.
experience is.
Perfect.
I was going to ask you what kind of law you did before.
Yeah.
So
I
that'd be a
certainly
good way
do
to
all
get
that.
into that.
Sure.
thing.
Yeah, I'll try to make it not boring.
No, you're doing great. So
Okay.
maybe we're the boring part.
No question. Well, we forget that. I'm kind of bummed about that.
How do we forget that?
Well, we had a guest in here.
Yeah.
That's,
So we probably missed what, 7 or 8 minutes?
that's right. We'll get the radio feed,
The audio.
and I could put that up, man.
Yeah.
Real simple. So
Oh, and one thing I do want to make sure I get a chance to do at some point is just tell people how to find me,
just
my contact
that's
info.
why you're here.
Yeah. So I give my phone number, my email address,
Oh, yeah.
website. Yeah, so they can look all that up.
We need to do
That's
that.
all I ask.
Why don't we come back and do that after I do a little housekeeping?
1960.
All right.
We'll come back with that, and then we'll get back into the line of questions.
Yeah. I do 3 interviews already. Get used to this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
great, yeah.
Oh, it's,
Have they all been as fun as this one?
No, and you guys are a whole lot better looking too. So, yeah. You got faces for radio, no doubt.
Yeah, that's for sure.
that's pretty fun. See? He might be a regular.
I think he's gonna have
Kind of abuse we like.
we got popping up
Pretty good. I don't know. I think I hit
side.
it. It's all right. We're still broadcasting. I can see
Yeah.
it.
MyHouseNow.com
Look good
or
there.
call 888-964-WAVE. Satisfaction guaranteed. Just go to
About 7
dryhousenow.com or call 888-964-WAVE.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
I'm not gay, but I like the way the weed pimps on K-High smell. I mean, they all smell like they bathed in pot. You can get high just talking to these guys. They're on every day from 5 to 7 on K-High.
That's right.
Our buddy Sonar's at the controls in our Chicago studios. We're in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The petri dish of the cannabis industry. It's HempSpeak. Shows it's all about hemp. We're on every day, Monday through Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. Colorado time. That's a couple hours later, 6 to 7 East Coast time, adjusted, of course, according to your time zone, wherever that is. And it's the Hemp Whisperers, Mike and JR. Our special guest today, hemp attorney David Law, the first name in industrial hemp. We'll get back to him in a moment. So, Mike, but I got a note here for any cannabis business owners and investors. A major need that every cannabis business has in common is a need for real estate. From grow to retail, space is not only a necessity, but it can be the make or break it component of your business. USTHC.com provides superior real estate solutions for the Colorado cannabis industry, whether you're already operating a cannabis business, thinking about it, or just interested in finding out whether it's right for you. Reach out to the pros at USTHC.com. Warehouses, farms, dispensary locations, just a part of what they do. For a free, no obligation consultation, contact USTHC.com today. And if you're a broker in Colorado or in another state, listening from another state, and you'd like to join the Cannabis Business Referral Network, go ahead and contact them at USTHC.com. Real estate solutions for the cannabis industry.
JR, I'm looking out that window again, and I still see some of that 420 smoke. It's wafting.
Haze.
It's
That's not the weed pimps.
I
out there-
thought
out
it
there
was a
getting ready.
barbecue going on out there, JR, but I'm not sure anymore. But there still might be. We need to send some investigative people down there to sort that out,
Okay.
because you never know. But thank gosh we have an attorney with us,
Yes,
so
we do.
we're not going to get in trouble for the next 20 minutes anyway, right?
No.
Okay, cool. So David Bush is with us. David, tell us about your practice, how people could reach you, and all that good stuff.
Sure. My practice is David B. Bush, LLC, which is a really boring name. So I came up with a registered trade name, which is David Law. And my slogan is the first name in industrial hemp. So Look out for that. David Law, one word, not two. My name is David Bush, and I am the attorney with David Law. My phone number is 303-422-0064. People can also reach me on my email address, which is bush@davidlawcolorado.com. And my website is the same extension. It's www.davidlawcolorado.com. So look me up. There's some information there about my practice, and the same contact information I just gave you is available there as well.
All right. What sort of law did you practice before you turned to hemp?
Well, I have been almost my entire career a civil attorney. That means I'm not a criminal defense lawyer or a prosecutor. I did work for a very short period of time as a prosecutor for misdemeanor offenses with the city of Denver. But almost all my career, I've been a civil attorney, which means we have people who are fighting over money, property, or any matter of things that don't land you in jail, but make people very unhappy, and they fight over it. So I was a litigator. Most recently, the last 15 years, I was with a firm called Marcus and Green in Jarvis, downtown Denver, and we were what's called an insurance defense firm. I was primarily representing contractors and developers. When they got sued, we defend them. And it was just time for a change, and there was a lot of change going on in Colorado, so I left, and now I have my own practice, and it's very different from what I was doing before, but building on all my experience in the past and the skills I developed.
Are you solo? Are you by yourself now?
I am solo, but my wife is just one floor below me. I'm in her building.
Is she attorney as well?
God, no. Oh, and I don't know why she married one. But my wife is a veterinarian, and she has a wonderful clinic called Lakeside Animal Hospital. It's in Wheat Ridge.
Shout out to Lakeside Animal Hospital. Lakeside's a good little amusement park, by the way.
Yes, it
Is
is.
it still around?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a great little amusement park. It's still around. I took my daughter there when she was a baby, and we still go there and ride the roller coaster. So anyway, we're at a two-story building. My office is on the second floor. If you come to visit me, you get to go through the reception of the veterinary clinic, and you get to see all the cats and dogs, say hello to them, and then we take you upstairs. I don't draw blood, and I don't kill anybody. I don't make them well. I just try to get them out of trouble or keep them from getting into trouble. That's my job. My wife does something a little different downstairs.
I don't know if fun is the correct word to use here, but is what you're doing now more enjoyable than what you were doing before?
It's fascinating, yes. Enjoyable because it's really interesting. I'm meeting great people, and I just can't emphasize enough. This is a great new industry in Colorado and around the country. We're on the start of something that is really exciting, and it could get really big. It's already big around the world. It just hasn't hit the United States. You know, we're importing $500 million or more of hemp products into this country because the federal government is still trying to tell people we can't grow it.
Yeah.
Why don't we grow it here?
Well, this is why we're here. We just scratch our heads and we don't have no more hair left, JR. You know, it's silly.
We're buying so much from China. Why are we doing that?
China is the biggest producer of fiber hemp.
Yeah.
So they just have the climate, the soil, and they have, frankly, cheap labor so that they can grow fiber varieties of hemp, and they have the means to what's called decorticated, which is to beat the fibers out of the hemp stalks. So that is why China is so big, is they are dominating the world in fiber. There's so many other uses, though. So many other uses that we are just beginning to discover in pharmaceuticals, in food, in plastics, building materials, alternative fuels, and the United States could be a leader in a lot of that. I mean, if China wants to keep on weaving shirts, go right ahead. I think we've got some other things in mind in this country that we could do better.
We should start right here in Colorado.
Well, that's what exactly happened in the year 2012. Let's go back in that time machine, Peabody. That was a good show.
Yeah,
right. Never mind. But no, you go back to 2012. The funny thing happened on the way of this recreational marijuana thing, and that was a little sentence in there in Amendment 64. It says it's okay to grow industrial hemp. And it was just a tiny little sentence in a big old bill, but that was about the biggest part of that whole bill, because the people's already doing their marijuana. Let's be fair and honest here. Like for 10,000 years, they've been doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of cool, wasn't it? So wasn't that the truth, though? That was that little line that says, hey, it's okay. Now, I might be paraphrasing somewhat. I don't think it says it's okay.
Mike, I couldn't say it any better myself, but I will anyway because I'm here.
Thank you. We have an attorney, David Bush. David Law, by the way. David Law, Colorado. Here's a card. All right, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, the Amendment 64, which is what legalized recreational marijuana. It's a very long amendment, paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, and it's almost entirely about recreational marijuana. There is literally, like you said, one line in there which says something to the effect of the state of Colorado will enact a statute to regulate industrial hemp, and it defines what industrial hemp is as a plant that has no more than 0.3% THC dry weight. And that's it. That's it. So we have the 800-pound gorilla in the room that was brought to life with a sentence.
It's just amazing. And all these other, now you can help me on this, but is there really any other state that has an initiative or anything with the power that Colorado has right now through Amendment 64? I watch these other states try to follow in their medical or recreational side of the business, and they're clearly cave people compared to what we have here. I mean, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice, but when somebody suggests that, for example, a state like Ohio gets 10 dispensaries, well, Colorado Springs, for example, has over 100, and I think Ohio's slightly larger than Colorado Springs. So I just wonder which bunch of cronies get all these deals. I think it's 5 in New York. And, of course, hemp, they're nowhere near hemp yet, right? I think, so it's kind of funny. But is there any other state, literally, that has what we have?
There are a couple of states that hope to catch up, and that's probably about the best we can say. The state of Oregon just put into effect its hemp regulations this year. The state of Vermont also has a regulated commercial hemp regime. That's about it. What's interesting is that there are a number of other states that have passed these beautiful statutes. You read them, and they sound wonderful. They sound like, God, they should be doing what Colorado's doing right now. Until you get to the end of the statute, and they often will say, and this will take effect once it's legal under federal law. So there are all kinds of states out there that have enacted incredibly good hemp statutes that right now are ineffective.
So to the best of my knowledge, it was a citizen initiative that brought both Amendment 20 and Amendment 64 to the table. The legislatures had no choice. It was passed because it got onto the ballot because of the citizen initiative. It seems like all these other places where the legislatures are allowed to construct whatever they want to construct, you get what you just spoke of. And that's what I guess my question is Colorado the only place that had a citizen petitioned initiative to make it happen?
It's the only one that I know of, yes.
And that's why we're so different. No one else has. Colorado did it right. It says, like Colorado Springs says, we want no recreational marijuana. But in fact, we're statutorily, by just the population, we can limit it to about 4 million plants just because of Amendment 64, right? And it's like, what are you guys trying to control, really, other than, through the beauty of the internet, we have found out some of the shenanigans that went on in 1937 and why hemp's illegal. And it's great to have attorneys like you and fine people like the Hemp Whisperers, JR and Mike, to help bring people like David forth, right? Yes. Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. I'm off the soapbox. Somebody say something.
Well, I think I agree with you that we probably wouldn't have the system that we do in Colorado today were it not for the public initiative process. Having said that, I'm not so sure if I like it. Let me admit something to you on the air here. I voted against Amendment 64. I did. I'm an industrial hemp attorney. I voted against that amendment, not because I didn't like what it said. I liked what it said a whole lot. I didn't like the initiative, the referendum process to change our constitution. That's what we're really supposed to have legislatures to do for us, is make our laws. We elect people who are supposed to be responsible and do the right thing. Unfortunately, they don't.
Well,
And then in desperation, what do? Is we turn to these public referenda. I don't like them. I understand the motivation for doing it.
it only falls that way when the elected people absolutely refuse to look at real data. And for example, when people tell me that we still need more studying as to medical marijuana, well, we're overstudying it. We have people living here that are having way better qualities of life because of what we have available here. And when people say, when they're so far off base on THC and hemp, I really wonder how smart they are at some of the other problems that they are bringing us solutions to.
Supposedly bringing us.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you can't tell the difference between pot and plutonium, we're going to have, we've got to go back to school. Somewhere we've got to get back to re-brainwashing. And Carlos Santana says it the best. He said he had a friend one time that just was really, his mind wasn't in the right place. And Carlos says, all we are is really computers. And all you need is just a new update. And that's all these legislatures need. Is it just a new factory update? Isn't it true? Can't we have a meeting with Charlotte Figge or somebody and watch a kid that it goes from 800 seizures to none before your eyes? And maybe if they don't change, David, I don't know how do you change people like that? I don't know.
We have to have a lot of public opinion, a lot of support, and a lot of pressure. And that's what's going on now. This is the revolution that's happening. And we're taking it into the streets. And Washington is hearing it.
Oh, yes.
Well,
so that's how we have change.
And that leads me to my next question. As a guy who's on the front lines for us, as you are, where do you think the battle is as far as getting the federal government to finally say, all right, we're listening to the people and change their minds?
One thing that we really need to see happen right now in Washington is there are some good bills that are pending before Congress. They've been introduced year after year after year, and they sit there until Congress shuts down after its 2-year session. We have a new Congress, and we start the whole process again. What we need are public hearings. We need hearings in congressional committees on the proposals that have been made. There's some good proposals out there. There's something called the Industrial Hemp Farming Act. There's never been a hearing on it. And all it does is it carves industrial hemp out of the Controlled Substances Act. It creates an exception and says this, defined as 0.3% THC or less, dry weight content in a cannabis plant, is not a controlled substance. If we did that, we could change our country. And the only way we're going to start doing that is to let the people speak. We need to have public hearings before these congressional committees that are considering this bill.
What a great interview we've got going with David Bush, attorney, davidlawcolorado.com. JR, 440 weather forecast.
You want a 440 weather forecast?
Yeah, we got a window open. What the heck, right?
Like I said, it's a beautiful day. Not too hot, not too cold.
Birds are
but
chirping.
It's always hazy and cloudy.
Are those guys still barbecuing over there? Come on, can you peek out there? Look around the corner a little bit more. I don't see that barbecue. I see a lot of smoke. I don't see no dang barbecue. HempSpeak.com, people.
The Weed Pets preparing for their show.
Crazy, I tell you.
15.
Welcome to Colorado.
Yeah, okay.
Quick.
Maybe those are hemp dogs.
What's that?
Maybe there are hemp dogs out there. You ever heard of hemp dogs?
I have.
Yeah.
I want you to tell a little bit about the show, the hemp farmers market.
Okay. Okay. And I want to ask you just who your clients are.
Yes.
Well, what can I do? I can talk about the kinds of clients. I don't want to give names.
No, we don't want
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Just farmers
since
or
privacy, it's nothing
Yeah.
else. But I can certainly talk about the kinds. Like I represent a couple of hemp agricultural co-ops.
Okay.
I represent a breeder.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that's where I was going. Help yourself there. One of these, I'm not suggesting.
Actually represent a media company.
We'll have about
Which
10
one?
minutes.
Yeah.
to come back.
Well, don't put this on the air.
That camera's picking it up.
I represent the Canvas Community Project.
Nice.
It's produced by Tal Media, and I gave him an interview too.
HempSpeak. J.R. Mike.
I may have to get in touch with your wife too. I got a dog who's blind.
Oh, come on down to Lakeside Avenue Hospital.
Hospital, you couldn't do better.
That sounds fun.
Started out as glaucoma, and then got like corneal ulcers.
Yeah,
They said he's not gonna be
probably
able to see.
should refer out to a specialist. There are veterinary specialists,
I
just
did,
like
I
there's
did
medical
take him to an
specialists.
dog ophthalmologist.
Yep. Oh, she takes our little Chihuahua to a cardiologist. I mean, this dog is like 5 pounds, right?
Yeah.
Thing. Takes it to a cardiologist.
That's pretty funny stuff. But I don't blame her, right? You know, these animals
Yeah.
they're crazy.
Yeah.
Love them so much.
Oh, there's veterinarians who do ACL surgery.
Back in 60.
It's crazy. I mean, if you're willing to pay for it, I mean, there's some expensive stuff you can do for Fido.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it. Three visits.
So my wife's a GP.
$900 for me.
She general practitioner. That's really what she does. She takes care of them short enough needing those specialists.
Oh, this is fun. You've been a good guest, buddy.
Hit the,
Thank you.
Hit the website, the email, and all that again when we come back.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit this real quick.
And I got a joke for you.
Oh, boy.
Not a good joke.
American Music Shirts, a community supporter of legalized marijuana. These are the designs that every music lover is going to gravitate towards. So check it out, AmericanMusicShirts.com. Celebrate the rich legacy of American music with AmericanMusicShirts.com.
Handier than a lighter leash. Listen anywhere at letstalkpod.com. Mike's live.
That sounds really good. If
We
you're
got the
listening
beat.
on a Bose system. Now, if you're on a tin can on your cell phone, that just sounds like a little click. But dude, if you're hearing it on that ultra fine audio fidelity, that is just the click of a star. I'm kidding. I'll shut that.
Mike and JR, the Hemp Whispers. Thanks for listening to HempSpeak, making broadcast history, the world's first hemp radio show on K-High in Colorado Springs, streaming worldwide at letstalkpot.com. And don't forget, if you're in the business and want to get the word out, our audience is extremely interested in your message. Let us do that for you. We have numerous sponsorship packages available here on HempSpeak. Join us, make some history. Put your ad right here. Be a part of broadcast history. Contact us at info@hempspeak.com. That's info@hempspeak.com. That's exactly what we're talking about right there. Put the ad on there. There you are.
We might even go LED or something with it too. I mean, if we're cool, you know, we're cool. We're open. Yeah, but we can't put it here because, well, I can put it there, but I can't put it. See, if I put it there, it might block David, so we can't do that.
That's David Bush. He's been a hemp attorney. Been a great guest today. Wow, I've learned so much.
Now, how does a plant engage you as an attorney? That's the first question I have. Isn't it hard to have a plant walk in an office and say, "Oh, you do it for probably the farmers"?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
now I'm getting it.
Well, some of our clients are vegetables, but they're not plants.
Okay. All right. So, hey, you were at the farmers market up in Denver. Got to give a little shout out there, buddy. I know it rained a little bit, but how was it overall?
Yeah, I was at the Hemp Farmers Market. I actually had a booth there. That was this past Saturday. It was during Hemp History Week. If any of you don't know that already, that was June 1st through 7th. And the Hemp Farmers Market was at the greenhouse at East Evans and Monaco in Denver. It was a beautiful day right up until 2 o'clock. Perfect weather, very nice temperature, sunny, and a lot of interesting people. There were about, there was probably 35 or 40 different booths set up, selling food and drink and soap and oils and consulting services of all kinds. So we had a really good time, and then the heavens opened up, and it just rained like crazy, and that was the day.
Well, you got 4 of the 6 hours in, it sounds like.
Yeah,
but,
That's about right.
we had Jeff Greenschlag on the show last week. He was the organizer. And we had Jake Brown from the Denver Post last week with the hemp box as well. What a lot of fun. Great people. Of course, Margarita Waters was up there with the Hemplements Buzz.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The Hempmobile.
the Hempmobile. Hemp Whispers like that buzz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, David, give us some shout outs to your, again, davidlawcolorado.com. I know that's one.
My name is David Bush. My law firm is David Law, the first name in industrial hemp. You can reach me, and I can be your law whisperer at 303-422-0064. My website is www.davidlawcolorado.com, and my email address is Bush, like my last name, like George W., but no relation, BUSH, at davidlawcolorado.com. Love to talk, so call me and we can have some.
Who are your clients? Who are your people you're serving?
I am trying to really reach out to the whole spectrum of industrial hemp industries in Colorado. So, for example, there's a couple of agricultural producers cooperatives that I'm assisting. There's a cannabis media company that I'm general counsel for. I'm working with a breeder. And there's a number of other people that have come to speak to me about having me represent them in recycling services, in producing consumer products, all kinds of folks. Really, anyone who is looking for some help in the industrial hemp industry and looking for it to be done competently and at a reasonable price, they come to me.
When you peel back the fact that it's hemp, are you then just basically practicing law to some extent, or is it a completely new field?
Oh no, it's practicing law. I mean, I still do contracts, a lot of contract work, a lot of advising people on regulatory compliance. I am doing some litigation. I've got a couple of cases now that are in suit, and then there's people who just want to try to get some sense of where the law is going. And so sometimes people just want me to be a philosopher for them too. And what do I think is happening now and what could be happening tomorrow? So all that is part of my practice, and it's all law.
Well, it's amazing to scale how it's going. And I think you hit the nail on the head, is just this burgeoning industry earlier, because we just have so many guests on our show that, year one, not so many acres. This year, about 2,600, maybe. Next year, it could be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of acres being planted, just because now we have the seed stock where so many companies that are working on that. And one group we had on the other day literally is planting 100,000 hemp clones in Pueblo last week.
Mm-hmm.
And next year they'll be able to do millions. And this is the scale that you're speaking of.
The amount of registered acreage for hemp production in Colorado, just over last year, it's increased by a factor of 10. So that gives you some sense of how fast things are growing. I mean, last year was the first regulated year. There was at least one person that some of us know of, who shall be unnamed, who actually grew some unregulated hemp before last year. But last year was the first real year under the current regulations. And we've gone 10 times better this year. So that's pretty impressive.
No, it is. And it just seems to be that most of our guess is just the lack of the seed stock, because the acreage is there. And more farmers are coming on board, I would guess, as they see it successful. Of course, a pound of hemp probably doesn't get what a pound of high-grade top-shelf marijuana gets, does it? Or eventually does it get?
That's a very good question, Mike, and it depends on what product you're talking about. One of the pure gold items that is coming out of hemp production right now are seeds. Just seeds, which you would want to think are the cheapest, dumbest things ever, except that they're worth easily $2,000 a pound. $1,500 on a good day if you can find yourself a discount. They were selling for as much as $10 per seed last year. Now, I've also heard that we're about to reach a tipping point where that price is going to start dropping dramatically because we've increased the acreage. We have a lot more growing, supply and demand. That's all it is. That we're going to start seeing a lot more seed coming on the market. Price is going to drop. One other thing I'll say, and then maybe I'll stop there, is the problem is while we're getting more seed, the quality isn't necessarily improving. That we don't really know what we have yet. It's not certified. So there's a continuing problem.
Yeah, and it's got to be just like in the cannabis. Obviously, there's got to be probably literally hundreds, if not thousands, of strains of just hemp that's in the threshold, and we're still just doing it. But the fun of it is, it was a 4-year-old little girl with CBDs that's coming out of these hemp plants. That's what's changed everything, and that's why Colorado is the petri dish. All of a sudden, when people were being cured of seizures, and now we know that it can be done with just CBDs from the hemp as well, without any THC involved. This has changed the game. And even in China and around the world, I don't think they were pulling CBDs. This is all brand new, and it just shows you the power of the hemp plant itself. 100,000 products minimum.
Well, you mentioned CBD. CBD is another big money item in hemp. Right now, if you have some really good refined CBD extract, it can go for thousands of dollars a gram. That price is probably going to drop as well as the supply improves. One thing you said, though, I'm going to have to correct, Mike, and that is CBD and THC tend to work together.
I agree with you.
And that's one of the problems with our whole political system right now, is that what our lawmakers want to say is THC, that's marijuana, that's bad. That just gets you high. It's what corrupts the youth. CBD is therapeutic, so we can give that to our children. What they don't stop and do is talk to the doctors who say, well, one acts in the central nervous system, one acts in the peripheral nervous system, and if you want the best benefit, you have to have a little of each in some ratio that we have yet to determine. We got to do clinical tests, trials, all that thing. But CBD by itself may not be the answer. Maybe a mixture of the two. And we got to do a lot of law changing to get to where we can freely access both drugs and make the best use of them.
Well, we always laugh on our show here that they say that marijuana is going to lead you to harder drugs. Now, if you're a lawyer, help me on this, David. If marijuana is ranked at the same as every hard drug there is, isn't that more of a lateral move? You simply can't go harder if you're already at the heart. It's like, hey, if you play in the NFL, you play in the NFL. Well, I'm sorry, you can't say, oh no, the NFL leads to a harder league. No, maybe high school, but no, this doesn't make sense. That's a bad analogy, and I apologize. But you know what I'm getting at. That marijuana can't lead to harder drugs because how can it be? It's a lateral move. If they go to heroin, it just moves straight across in the same schedule.
Well, but more likely than not, actually be going down the scale rather than a lateral move.
Well, opium actually had a little high school here in Colorado Springs, and they were dealing out opium like crazy. And it's like one of the best schools in the country, by the way. We won't name any names. But the bottom line on that is opium's actually scheduled below.
That's right.
So wouldn't they be thrilled that their students are moving now from something that's horrible to something that's less horrible? And who made that up?
That's why you're not an educator. Yes.
No, that's why I left that education scene, because when they tell you things that are clearly not right, at some point, you're going to believe me or you're going to believe your lying eyes, right? Well, I can't believe my lying eyes. Enough of that.
Our guest, a pioneer. He's putting hemp and law together and making it work. As the hemp attorney, David Bush.
If anybody needs to get David, please sort him out on any of your hemp farm problems or questions or anything to do with the cylinder we call hemp.
DavidLawColorado.com, the website, headquarters in Denver, and he's coming back. I guarantee you that.
Oh, yeah. If he can put up with us, he's welcome for sure. So come back for sure, David. It's been a great interview, my friend.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, JR, we'll be back tomorrow. We're glad to have Team Hemp Whisperers back at full strength.
Yep.
And I want to let everybody know that he wasn't fined. These were okayed and excused absence by the commissioner of the league. All right, so you're good to go on that. I don't want you to lose any sleep on that massive fine that we might have given you. All right, you guys. HempSpeak.com. Thank you for listening.
See you tomorrow.
Let me suggest something. You got some fun